Look how far we've come, all the things we've done. Did it all with love, beauty from the bottom up. All I want is you, you're my favorite view. But there's nothing new, girl, you made my heart beat.
Ooh, this one looks like it's probably going to be a little bit more. It's only 2 pages though.
Okay. You gonna read the title?
My boyfriend doesn't want to have sex with me.
Chris and Peaches. I am a 26-year-old female and have been with my boyfriend, 33 male, since I was 20. We have a 4-year-old son. We hand-built a home together, and we are generally very supportive of one another's dreams. We get along great, we enjoy doing the same things, and have very few complaints about one another. However, we don't have sex. For the last 4 to 5 years, we have had sex about 30 times, all initiated by myself, and there has been evidence of ED.
Pause. Your man needs to get a blood test. Go to matrixhormones.com, click on the new patient release form, fill out the release form, put in to be better on the drop-down menu. It'll save him $200. If there is any issues with ED, sleep, depression, if they just don't feel like themselves and they're over the age of 25, there's this very strong possibility that testosterone has dropped. Did you know that men now have 3 times less testosterone than their grandfathers did?
Yeah.
Because of the shit that we ingest? Mm-hmm. Do yourselves a favor. If you are a man and you want to know where your blood levels are, go to matrixhormones.com, do everything that I've just listed out, and get your fucking blood work done. It'll take you an hour of your day. You can go to LabCorp or wherever you're at in the United States to get your blood work done. They'll read it out. They'll tell you what's wrong, what you need to fix. If you have liver issues or kidney enzyme issues or whatever the case may be, they can figure that out and they'll help you get back to a normal feeling like you. I cannot stress enough how fucked up my life is when I come off of my testosterone. Mm-hmm. All right.
All right. With all of the rejection, asking him why he didn't want to be intimate anymore, and trying to accomplish everything on his never-ending list of why he didn't want to be intimate, I looked through his shit to see if there was another woman. Instead, there was a lot of corn. He insists that he uses it a normal amount.
What is a normal amount?
And that he is going to overcome the fight with it and overcome it.
Well, so what's the normal amount?
None.
If we're having sex 30 times in 5 years, what would be a normal amount of corn use? Would it be the same thing? 30 times in 5 years? Right, because he said that.
Right.
And he insists that it's a normal amount. I don't know what a normal amount is. I don't use corn. If I was at a point where like we hadn't had sex in a while and I needed a release, I would fucking tell you like, hey, it's been a while and I'm fucking struggling. Help me out. The worst that you're gonna do is tell me no. And at that point, at least I've expressed my need. Mm-hmm. This situation, if this falls on the whole dopamine hit being the addiction being more than each time, right? If you have a very vanilla sex life and you're watching BDSM videos, you're needing that extreme shit to get that dopamine release to get your finishing move. So to go from watching that and treating your brain that way to normal vanilla sex with your woman is going to be a problem. Mm-hmm. And I'm willing to bet that because he is watching corn a normal amount, whatever the fuck that is, it's elevating.
Right.
He's looking for a more drugs to reach that high. It'll never be the same as that first time. Mm-mm. That woman talks about reading smut books. She said that one of her addictions was reading smut books. And she brought up the Twilight series. She's like, I read that series the first time and realized that my addiction was the love tension until it happened. And then when it happened, I was really kind of done with the book. She said that she read the Twilight Saga 4 times, and every time she read it, she was trying to get back to the first time that she experienced what she was looking for.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where now when she realized with her addiction that she could go about 3/4 of the way through the book, get the high without having to read the entire book and then discard it. It's no different if you're watching. You're going for the fix, not the story. You know what I mean? Like, Yep. There's no such thing as a normal amount.
Right.
Do you think there's a normal amount for single people?
To watch corn?
Yeah.
No.
Why not?
Because it's still messing up your brain.
But we know that. So for people who don't know that, they would see that there's nothing wrong with it. I'm single. What does it matter? I'm not cheating on anyone. I'm just taking care of a need that needs to be met. That's the argument.
I mean, It doesn't matter if you're married or not. It's still going to mess up your brain.
It could fix pain though. And as somebody who's been living in pain for 6 months, I fucking get it. Because there was a couple times where I was like, man, if I knew a junkie right now, I would totally get rid of this pain for at least 3 minutes.
Right. It's still going to affect your brain.
Absolutely. It would. And with my personality, I'd be a fucking addicted to quick. I would end up overdosing from I know I would.
Yeah. I guess that speaks more on if you care or not.
What do you mean?
Because if you don't care that it's altering your brain, it doesn't matter.
Well, we know that.
Right.
We know that from the addiction standpoint.
Yeah.
We've known that anyways. But for people who don't know that because psychotropics, cannabis is a psychotropic.
Right.
People who use cannabis every day for anxiety, when they don't have cannabis, their anxiety is way higher than it would have been if they were not a regular cannabis user, because your body's trying to find that balance. When you started smoking cannabis as a young woman, you didn't have the understanding of the psychotropic aspect of it and the way that the brain depends on that, and you smoked. And people will say that you can't be addicted to cannabis. You can be addicted to anything.
Right.
So it may not physically make you crave it like nicotine, but you will still be more anxious than you would have otherwise been. So like, I guess my original question still asks, like, for people who don't understand the brain change, how would you explain that to them, that doing the whole corn thing just because you're single still matters?
Just like that. It's going to change your brain and ruin your relationships.
Okay.
Pull up Google documents if I need to. But that would be it. I'm not trying to fight to change somebody's life. I'm not going to die on a hill of you shouldn't watch corn even though you're single. I'm going to give you the information, and either you care about it or you don't.
Everybody has that friend that does things to an extreme. Or they'll start like casual, and then it becomes a little bit of an extreme, and then it becomes a life encompassing thing, and then it becomes death.
Yeah.
And I've lost a lot of friends to drugs, and I've watched all of them go from moderation to just fuck it. And that's been a problem. And I think that with corn addiction, it's the same thing. You watch people that are able to just get on and watch like Cinemax, and that's enough, especially when you're a teenager. And then, you're looking through people's phones and there's fucking all kinds of crazy shit on there because they've chased that high along the way. That would be my conversation, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't know where it's going to end up.
Right. Continue reading.
Yeah.
Continuing on, he is hopeful about a future of great intimacy once again, but I can tell there has been no further progress. I have given him the lead on this, which I'm not sure if it's a good or a bad thing, but I just trust that he knows what he is doing. I wouldn't.
Why not? This is devil's advocate. I wouldn't either, but why not?
Because this is an addiction, right? If I know someone who's addicted to the go-go juice,
you're not going to drive them to their dealer's house?
No, yeah. I'm not giving you cash. You're not going to be in my house unattended. You're not babysitting my children. I don't believe that you have your best interest at heart because you're doing this to yourself. Yeah. That's my comment on that statement. I would not trust him to know what he's doing right now. Especially because there's been no further progress being made.
Do you view that as self-harm?
What?
All the addiction aspect of things, knowing that these things can do this to you and doing it anyways.
Yeah. Definitely. Continuing on.
Yeah.
That he is taking it seriously because I know how much he loves us. He has told me how fortunate he is to be with me, and that he would never cheat because he understands what he would lose and the consequences of such a poor choice. On the same hand, he is very communicative about how hard it is to stay faithful, not engage in corn, look lustfully at other women, flirt, etc.
But he is.
Wait, scroll back up. I'm so sorry. He said he would never cheat because he understands what he could lose and the consequence of such a poor choice. On the same hand, he is very communicative about how hard it is to stay faithful, to not engage in corn, to not look lustfully at other women and to not flirt.
Which he's doing.
He's doing
Technically doing all three. Well, he's doing the top two. He's not talking to them unless he's paying for OnlyFans and then he's flirting with the women.
Right.
So that's hypothetical. But
Yeah.
he's definitely doing 2 out of 3.
Yeah. I view corn as cheating.
Right.
Just want to put that out there. So the cheating's already happening.
What do you say to the people who say that it's natural for men to look at that women should just get over it, that's natural that we do that?
What is the basis of that?
That I don't know where it comes from. I just know
Right.
that there are
Well, my
people who've
response would be that my response to that would be, so it's natural for men to watch porn. I don't know. It's natural for women to get pregnant.
That's natural.
I don't, that it's not natural for men to watch porn. That's not.
Okay, then what about it's natural for men to lust after other women?
That's your demon speaking.
Okay.
You can leave that at Satan's door. Not my husband.
You can leave that at Satan's door. That sounds like a fucking t-shirt. This is why I asked if you view this as self-harm.
Yeah.
Because you do understand there is a consequence to your actions, whether that's furthering the addiction or hurting the people around you. And in the moment when you're looking for the fix, you're not thinking about those around you and the guilt that comes afterwards. Why do I do this? I don't want to do this. I want to stop. But in the moment, that's not what's going through your brain.
Right.
And I do think that there needs to be a level of grace and understanding when it comes to people who are addicts, but they have to want to change. And there are a lot of people who are in active addiction that don't give a fuck about anything other than their addiction. And there's a difference. When people want to get clean, they do, but they have to want it.
I agree. Continuing on, he is entering a field, first responder, which has a high infidelity rate. We were talking about having another kid, but I'm hesitant. Oh God, that would be the last thing on my mind. Your guys' relationship is not okay. Do not even consider having another child right now.
Why do you say that?
Sounds like they're probably not going to make it.
Okay.
I would not consider having a child with somebody who I'm thinking about not being in a long-term relationship with. What?
I guess my brain went somewhere completely different than yours did.
Why?
Because he's entering a field, first responder, which has a high infidelity rate.
Right.
I heard first responder and my brain went, okay, this is an unsafe kind of job.
Right.
And like, that's where my brain went. I don't know why dots didn't connect there at all.
Okay.
You're over here talking about infidelity and I'm thinking like,
right.
Death.
No, yeah. I was talking on the fact that he can't stop watching porn is making excuses for it.
Yeah.
No way in hell I'm bringing in another life to be dependent on me, knowing that whatever is going on in this relationship, if this doesn't work out, I now have 2 mouths that are reliant on me, 2 brains that are looking to me to nourish them. Right. That's a lot.
My synapses didn't connect.
Yeah, look at that. Continuing on.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to rebuild trust between us and get to the place where we are, which is not where we want to be. But it is very much better. Oh, but it is much better. He is my soulmate. But if I can be transparent, I'm scared. So I'm going to stop right there. Full halt, slamming on the brake. Somebody just hit the windshield because they weren't wearing their seatbelt. This is not your soulmate if you're scared of being with this person. I am so... This is not directed at the emailer. This is just the overwhelming, I am so tired of people using the soulmate to give themselves validation or reassurance in the moment that this is the person that they have to be with. This dude is watching porn and is hurting your feelings about it. He's making excuses about it's natural. This is the normal amount of watching porn.
I agree with the soulmate statement. I actually don't like the term. As a whole, right. I don't like the term. And I agree that people use that terminology to give them permission to do the things that they're doing, right? Because you are using that, you're validating your existence in the moment by using terms like that. Mm-hmm. I also think on the other side of that is somebody who's been an addict and has been in active addiction and wanting to quit. Having somebody there that supports you could be a game changer.
Right.
But her not trusting him and him doing shit and hiding it, I think is where the issue comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So in this situation, do you think she should tell him, like, I need to know when you're being triggered and I need to know when you're relapse versus finding it?
Mm-hmm.
Because I agree with you in that I would rather you tell me than me find the shit later, because if I find it later, you've lied and hidden it.
Because you knew it was wrong.
Because you felt guilty. I would rather you tell me and we can deal with the guilt of it together. And maybe we can figure out what the cues are, the triggers are, so that I can start looking out for them as well. Mm-hmm. Then maybe when we're watching TV and a sex scene pops up, I can just skip through it real quick. Or we can start watching PG movies only, fade to black when something dirty happens, right? Like, okay.
Continuing on, I'm scared to be second to corn forever.
Do you think that that's the case?
Being second to corn?
Yeah.
I think it feels that way.
I agree with that as well said. But do you think that that's true?
That she is second to corn? No.
Okay.
I think any woman could be in your position right now and it wouldn't matter. He would still choose the corn because it's an addictive thing. Yeah. Like I said, it's not a slight towards you. I have to remind myself that, right, personal life things happen and a lot of things are out of my control and it sucks. Can't control people's reactions to information or, how they handle whatever. And I have to remind myself, it doesn't matter who's in my shoes right now. It's just the fact that I did something they didn't like, or I said something that they perceived as a slight. It doesn't matter who said it. It's just the fact that it was said and it hurt their feelings. Right? So that's my answer to that.
I don't think that she's second either.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, he has an addiction. Mm-hmm. And even if it wasn't an addiction, that would still change the narrative.
Right.
If he's spending, I guess this is just a thought, if he's spending 99% of his life not on corn, mm-hmm. and then the rest of the time he's being a good husband and a good father, and he still has the urge, that 1% doesn't negate the other 99% of your life. Mm-hmm. And I think that matters.
Yeah. I do want to add on to that, though. Speaking of what you just said specifically, if it was a 1% kind of thing, I would only be able to tolerate that for so long.
Well, that speaks on self-perseverance, right? Preservation, right? Because you can only tolerate so much before finally you go, this is not what I want for my life. And that's okay. Not everybody's meant to be together. Sometimes you are with the right person at the wrong fucking time.
Yep.
Maybe in this situation, that's the thing. And then she leaves and 10 years later, he's fucking no longer doing that. And they meet at a bar somewhere and fucking kick it off. And I can't believe we didn't work. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I do think that falls under the whole protect your peace thing.
Yeah.
What you will and will not accept from somebody. It needs to be clear. I wouldn't be with somebody who's a junkie on any facet. And I view this the same way.
Yeah. I also just remembered that they've had sex 30 times in the last 5 years.
Right.
Your soulmate also would not be doing that to you. Speaking on soulmates, if we are really going to talk about the true blue, this person was made as your second half and you're coming back together and your souls are joining together as one because they were separated once in the great beyond, this is not it. This feels like you're trying to take some random puzzle piece and shove it into a spot that it doesn't fit.
We should have a conversation about soulmates real quick.
Okay.
So there's 8 billion people on the planet.
Right.
What are the possibilities? So somebody actually finding their soulmate, do you know how rare that would be?
Oh, yeah.
Like infinitesimally rare that would be, to not only be able to find them in this lifetime, because you would have to believe in reincarnation at that point, mm-hmm. but to believe that not only did you find that 1 in 8 billion people, they happen to be on the same continent as you.
Born in the same town as you.
Right. In the same time frame.
Yeah.
In the same city, same zip code, or however you make that work. Like, that would be such a rare phenomenon. Like, I think that you would have a better chance of being born with 2 different color eyes. You would have a better chance of being struck by lightning while winning the lottery.
I think you would have a better chance of being attacked by a shark.
Yeah.
And that's very minimal.
Yeah.
Right?
I think you're more likely to be attacked by a bear high on go juice.
Hell yeah. We should watch that movie.
When you really think about that, though, like that's fucking insane when you
is.
really break down the mathematic possibility of you meeting a soulmate
Right.
and what would have to go into alignment. And then for that to be the case, you can't say you're an atheist
True.
because that would have to be divine intervention
Yeah, that
of
means
some
that-
degree.
Yeah. Something somewhere made that happen for you guys. Yeah.
Crazy.
Continuing on.
Yep.
I'm scared to be second to corn forever. I am scared that I am becoming okay with never having sex and losing interest in it altogether. I don't know how to stay interested in sex with someone who doesn't choose me over corn, and I'm scared to have another baby with him.
You should be.
I would be too. I would not be in this relationship. I'm going to be honest. I would not be in this relationship. If I am scared to have a child with somebody, I'm not having a child with that person. Because at that point, you're not just making a choice about your own life, you're creating a new one. And at this point, I feel like you're knowingly fucking up this kid's life a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, yes. That would be the case, especially
Right.
if you knew that you were probably not going to stick around.
And
You were
having second guesses.
It's a premeditated broken home.
Yeah. I wouldn't want any of that either. I am a goddess. I need to be treated as such.
I try.
I need to be worshipped as such. And like I am A-okay with life happening, right? 30 times in 5 years. I'm calling the cops. I need that kind of love. I need that intimacy from my husband, from my man. I need to feel your calloused hands. Like, I don't know. It blows my mind the things that people will let slide or let go to be a people pleaser.
She mentioned at the beginning of this that he has ED. That was his
Yeah.
email, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, the ED could be from watching
Oh, 100%.
because you need more than that vanilla or more
Yeah.
than whatever it is that you're happening to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there needs to be. I actually don't agree with this. I was going to say that maybe you need to change your style of sexual play to meet his addiction, but I think at that degree you're also enabling something that
Oh,
you
yeah.
probably shouldn't be enabling.
Yeah.
I wonder what an actual therapist thought is on that. I'm sure that there's both sides to that coin. I'm sure there will be therapists out there that are like, you absolutely should indulge. And there's going to be other therapists who are like, you are fucking enabling.
Mm-hmm.
Like you shouldn't change you to meet that. Like he has an addiction. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go on.
I don't want to be in a sexless relationship. My parents had no intimacy, and my dad took it so poorly that he chose to relapse into alcoholism and overdose a couple of days before Christmas. Okay, so I'm going to pause right there. I don't know the full extent of anything about your father's life, but I think being in a intimacy lacking marriage is just part of the reason that happens.
Right. Well, I think there's a difference between a sexless relationship and one that lacks intimacy.
Yeah. Two different things, very much two different things, because intimacy does not equate to sex.
Right. Physical intimacy matters.
It does.
But that could be slow dancing in the kitchen. It doesn't have to be intercourse.
Right.
But she said that he chose to relapse into alcoholism and overdosed a couple days before Christmas. I think that she should have paused with a period there.
Mm-hmm.
He chose to relapse into alcoholism, period. I don't think that he chose to overdose.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody chooses to overdose.
Because that sounds like he...
Suicide.
Yeah. I have a hard time with Christmas,
Yeah.
like as a whole. And you'll have... Yeah, I'm not even going to get into that. That'll just be a regular Patreon live one day. There's no point in even doing that right now. Let's continue.
Okay. One of the last conversations I had with him was about the lack of intimacy and love in general left him feeling lonely and unloved. How do I proceed? Am I an asshole to say I don't want another child until the is addressed? How do I get my desire for sex back? I've acclimated to the circumstance and I've become apathetic towards this in particular because it's caused so much pain for so long. And I've done everything he's asked me to in terms of support and necessary changes.
That's the end of the email.
I don't think you're an asshole at all for any of that. I think if anything, that makes you a fantastic mother to say, I'm not going to have another child with a man who lacks integrity. Not a man of his word. Providing in certain aspects of a relationship, but it's lacking in a lot. Where's the rest of the provision at?
Right. Well, she said earlier that 30 times in the last 5 years since she initiated all of them.
Right.
And now she's saying she doesn't have a sex drive. She doesn't have a desire for him. So now they're both lacking in desire for each other. So it would. This is a matter of time before infidelity happens.
Oh, yeah.
And
on either part.
Right. And that's what I was about to say. Like, he's already technically cheating.
Oh, yeah.
But all it would take is for her to meet somebody at Starbucks. Hey, I really like your dress. And then she smiles. Oh my God, you got great teeth. And then a conversation starts because it was innocent compliments. And then she's going to be thinking about that compliment. Well, he was there at noon. Maybe if I go back tomorrow at noon, I'll see him again. Maybe he's a regular. Right? And now there's intent behind your Starbucks runs that's not to get coffee. And that's how it all starts. That's all it takes, because that one person is giving you what you're not getting everywhere else.
I am all here to be supportive for somebody who is in addiction and trying to be better. She said in the beginning of the email, there's been no noticeable changes.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's saying what he needs to say in the moment to get her off of his back and then just continue doing what he's doing. What?
Do you have more on that?
No.
That Starbucks analogy is chasing a dopamine hit just like he's chasing a dopamine hit.
Oh, yeah.
That hit right after you were done talking, and I was like,
yeah.
Are you done?
Yeah, that's a good point.